If you talk to most people who know me, you would learn that I'm a quiet, reserved type of person. I've been often described as a gentle giant. But despite my outward appearance, I spent a significant portion of my time on social media. Over the course of a few months, I became more obsessed with the news and views that came my way. I kept seeking deeper into the quagmire of discouragement until there came a day where I finally had to say enough. Through the effort of moving away from social media, the results have made all the difference. I want to persuade all of you to change your habits concerning your usage of social media. I'll talk about how the influence of social media has shaped modern society, how our habits with its usage shape the way we think and act, and how we can overcome the obstacles and challenges we place on ourselves with our habits. Modern technological advances, augmented by the advent of the internet, have made communication easier and faster. It's allowed people to find their voice and express themselves through social media. The internet has connected and divided us like nothing before. Social media sites have been one of the primary forces in encouraging such voices to be heard. An unintended side effect, however, is that social media has become a constant fixture in many people's lives, even to the point of addiction. In recent years, academics and scientists have voiced their findings on social media obsession. Dr. Ophir Terrell, an associate professor at the California State University in Fullerton, researches behavioral and managerial issues in technology-focused environments. He estimates that 5 to 10% of Americans could meet the criteria for being at risk for social media addiction. Doug Forderman, writing for the Brookwood School, recalls an interaction he had with a New York sophomore some years ago. The student said that he liked the fact that he could break up with his girlfriend via text rather than in person. When asked why the student broke up with her that way, he responded that he didn't want to deal with the drama. Forderman states that when the student opted to break up with the text message, he had missed out on a critical experience. That is, having a challenging conversation with another person about a difficult topic. He had avoided the opportunity to learn in the moment and engage in the conversation, ultimately never reflecting how he may mitigate such a critical conversation next time. This has become increasingly common in such discussions over the cold interface of social media. Many in our society opt to hold such discussions this way. As a result, interpersonal communication does not thrive on such sites. Social media strips away the inflection of our voices, our body language, our facial expressions, and our ability to assess and respond to critical topics in real time. Anyone who has suffered through challenging conversations in person understands how difficult it can be to navigate the nuances of that conversation and figure out how to best express ourselves in a way that will lead us to the best possible outcome, Doug Fodeman writes. According to Dr. Nancy DeAngelis, the Director of Behavioral Health at the CRNP, social media platforms drive surges of dopamine to the brain to keep consumers coming back over and over again. The shares, likes, and comments on these platforms trigger the brain's reward center, resulting in a high similar to the one people feel when gambling or using drugs. As such, the more time one spends on social media, the high from interacting with social media becomes harder and harder for anyone to resist. The impact of social media is quite extensive, but there are steps that we can take to recover or mitigate. There are several actions that you may take to counteract your social media habits. One solution is to limit the amount of time you spend on social media. Another solution is to break off from social media entirely and seek to interact with people in an in-person setting. A different solution is to limit your social media to 1 or 2 platforms. The best solution is to set a limit on the amount of social media you consume. First, set up healthy boundaries to help you reorient your relationship with social media as an enabler of escapism and distraction into a tool of information and enjoyment. Second, you should form short-term and long-term goals to build and sustain a healthy relationship with social media. You may find that outside interaction with friends and family will help you get rid of negative emotions or preoccupation associated with your social media usage. Set aside certain times when you may check your social media feed to catch up on the newest posts. Make sure to keep a close eye on your time so that you don't end up cutting into your productivity. One common defense against curbing social media use is that social media use has helped break down geographical and ideological barriers to help us connect with people we wouldn't be able to otherwise. According to SEL Health, if you happen to live in a remote or homogeneous area, social media can expose you to people and views that you wouldn't encounter where you live. Such interactions help to create a dynamic and well-rounded view of the world. However, social media use is similar to most other things online. It depends on how you use them. If you customize your feed, limit your social media usage, and use it for the right reasons, you will be able to mitigate potentially detrimental habits. Now that we've discussed what steps you can take, what would happen if you decide not to change? If you don't reconsider your habits concerning social media, you might find yourself in the same quagmire of discouragement and doubt that I found myself in. If you feel like you don't stack up to those around you, it can have a negative effect on your self-esteem. You can be easily inundated with images of people who seemingly have it better than you in one way or the other. Your actions and feelings may have detrimental effects on other parts of your life, such as disrupting your sleep patterns. Not getting enough sleep has a great negative impact on your health. However, if you change your social media habits, you'll find that your mental and physical health will take an upward improvement. Your sleep patterns will improve and will in turn provide your body the strength it needs to carry out your daily functions and tasks. Your self-esteem might develop more naturally through in-person interactions with your friends and family. You will be able to focus more on things that matter most. Now that you know the potential impact of your actions, you may decide how you want to change. As I've described here, limiting your social media habits will be a boon to your mental and physical well-being. Depending on how much time you spend on social media, a reformation of your habits will allow you to have more control over your life and decide what other actions you can take to move forward. When I realized that I need to rethink my social media addiction, I knew that it would be difficult to break away. However, through support from friends, family, and God, I have made great strides for my well-being. I strongly encourage each of you to rein in your own vices on social media so that you may all have the capability to grow and learn as well.